Good morning. It's Sunday, snowing here in Grand Haven, and I've got three hands to take a look at. Trying to steer these videos back to my original intent, which was to pick out lessons that I think are appropriate for advancing beginners and intermediates. The Trump coup last week was a lot of fun, but I suspect it was just a bit of glee on my part on finding it. So on this fourth board, North opens two hearts in the second seat. It should be a pretty good hand or have some distribution. I bid my 6-card spade suit pretty light, but I'm void in the hearts, so I'm a lot more interested. And my partner happens to have some spade honors. We're going to be in good shape. But South kind of cuts off all discussions with 4 hearts. A 4-heart bid is hard to read. It could be preemptive. It could actually be close to an opening hand. Hard to say what it is. They just call it the law, so you know they have at least 4 of them. Right, so looks like my partner has 3 hearts, hasn't been able to respond to spades. I would hope North was short in spades, and the points are not that disparate around the table unless South happens to have a pretty good hand, and we'll know that when we see the dummy. So the question here is what to lead. Now, opening leads appear to be a crapshoot. And we'll talk about opening leads in next steps, elements of the defense at some point here. But basically, you lead to serve a defense. You don't lead because of what you happen to have. You don't lead out of convenience. You lead for purposes of a defense. And there are 5 major defenses in bridge. First, we may want to give our partner a ruff. Right? So if we know of shortness in our partner's hands, or if I have shortness, our lead may be tailored to getting a ruff. Second, we may be trying to keep the declarer from getting ruffs. We might know that's happening, say, if he's playing in his second suit, right? Which would suggest that if he has losers there, his partner is going in losers in his first suit, that his partner is short in that suit, and maybe that means he will get some ruffs there. So you might want to lead a trump to prevent ruffs. Third major defense is just sort of the opposite, and that's when we suspect that opener is going to need do some roughing in his hand, and we know that our partner has some trump, has a longer trump suit. We would know that through our shortness or through obvious shortness in the dummy, in the trump suit. In which case, we actually want to play our long suits, right, and force the declarer to ruff repeatedly. We call that tapping the declarer, so that he runs out of trump. And eventually our partner, or we, if we have the long trumps, gain control of the hand. And then the last 2 or 3 tricks, we're cashing suit tricks, and those kind of defeats can be brutal. Then there are 2 other general types of defense. One is called an active defense, and this is where I think of it as a desperate defense. This is where we know that the declarer has the goods. Maybe it was a very confident auction, or the declarer has shown a large hand, and defender has, and the responder has shown some points. An active defense is where we immediately try to set up our tricks. We want our tricks as fast as possible. Okay, this is because if we don't get them off the top, we're never going to get them. Right? There's not going to be any lead back to us later. The declarer's not going to be trying to set up his own tricks. He's got his tricks. He just wants to run them off. Right? So we will run an active defense when we want to set up tricks immediately. For instance, the club suit. If I think we got to get these club tricks right now or we're never going to get them, right, then I might be leading even the ace of clubs, right, and counting on my partner to have the king, or under leading all 3 of them, or leading the queen and trying to find the king of clubs in west. That's very active, but you can see how that's very desperate as well, right? So that's called an active defense. And then finally, we play passively. Now, a passive defense comes up basically when it just seems like you're going to give away tricks on your opening lead. This will happen sometimes when you have kings and queens and they're spread out, and the only way you think you can score those if you're led to. Well, obviously you don't want to be leading if you want to get led to. Right? So you want to get out of your hand with a passive lead. and you choose your passive lead based basically on what you think might be safe. Okay, so here my hope is that I'm going to make a passive lead, just get out of my hand, and hope to find my partner with some diamond tricks. Okay, I don't think he's going to have any heart tricks unless we're very fortunate. I think that the spade tricks are unlikely because North will probably be shorter in my suit, but maybe not. But we'll know a lot more when we see the dummy. So I'm just kind of hoping to find my partner with something, right, and make a passive lead out of the diamond suit. What diamond do I lead? Contrary to our beginning lessons in defense, which is a phrase I'm going to use over and over in the Elements of Defense class, we don't lead top of nothing. Top of nothing is a silly lead when you reach advanced levels of play. Because if you're leading bottom of something, top of nothing, then your lead says, I've got something, right? Well, isn't that just an invitation for the declarer to finesse you for what you have? The prime, one of those is, you underlead a king. It's like, oh, declarer's sitting there with the ace, queen, jack. It's like, thank you for the information. Right? So what you want to do is, depending on your agreements, lead third or fifth from your suit, or lead fourth from your suit, depending on your agreements. Here, I'm going to lead the four, and this promises nothing. Right? This also allows me to lead high, right, to show a doubleton or a stiff. And we hit our partner's suit. Right? He plays the 10. It is not covered by the queen. And then he plays the king. Right? So he's one low, led high. So I found him with the king, queen, 10 of diamonds. So my passive lead scored. Right? Assuming we got one more trick in diamonds. So I know he has the queen of diamonds. If North happens to have 6 hearts, 3 diamonds, and remember, I think he's, if anybody's going to be short, well, let's think about that. We have 6 spades, there's 3 in the dummy, so we got 9 right there. So it would appear that North is going to be short. It could be really bad. My partner could be void in spades, but a more reasonable conclusion is that North will be short in spades, which means that there's a good chance he'll have 3 diamonds, right, and could have some clubs. Now, because the king of clubs is after me, I don't know that I'm going to score more than one club trick. Getting led to in the clubs does not do me a whole lot of good unless the lead comes from south, and I doubt we'll see that happen. So it doesn't really matter here what I signal. I'm going to keep my diamond because I want to lead back to the queen, and I guess I'll just tell my partner by playing a signal here that I have the ace of spades. Doesn't necessarily mean lead a spade, but it does mean I've got it. And I'll lead high for now, although I think we're going to talk a lot about signaling with a low card to encourage when we get to class. Anyways, he leads the spade. So now I've got to think about this. We're playing imps, right? Giving up an over trick at imps is not a big deal, right? Beating the contract is the big deal. Okay, so you can take some chances here. And now I can see setting tricks, right? I can see the ace of spades, I can see the ace of clubs, right? And I can see the queen of diamonds. And really the only question is the queen of diamonds going to cash, or is it going to get roughed? And if it gets roughed, well, maybe I'll get a club trick later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ace of spades here. Now this uncovers the king and queen, and if North only had a singleton spade, that means he's going to have 2 winners in the dummy to throw away losers on. This is not a good thing, right? I will try the 6 of diamonds now, and it wins. So we got our 3, and partner, good man, leads me the ace of clubs, and we set. All right. So that's kind of the thought process that goes into an opening lead. What is the best type of lead in this circumstance? Here I determined it was passive, and I let a diamond leading from either the spades or the clubs was desperate moves, and both of them, actually the ace of clubs would have been the best lead, because at least I would have gotten it that way. But leading the ace of spades would have uncovered spades for the declarer to pitch losers on. One of the more usable gadgets that you should learn is called Michaels. and a similar one is called unusual 2-note trump. Both of these are overcalls that show 5-5 at least in 2 suits. With Michael's, when a minor suit is opened, you Q-bid that suit to show 5-5 in the majors. Now, when I first learned this convention 10 years or so ago, it was very common for people to play what was called mini-maxi, that you would only use Michael's with a preemptive hand or with a strong hand, but otherwise with anything around opening, you would just bid twice. It actually means bidding 3 times to show 5-5, because you bid your spades and then bid your hearts and then bid your hearts, right? Over time, that's changed. Here I have 7-8 and a void. This is not a bad hand, all told. I have King 10, 8-7. I have Ace Jack 9. I need my partner to fill in some holes there. But basically, I want to use this bid as a defensive bid. And by a defensive bid, what I mean is I'm going to get in the way, okay? I bid 2 diamonds, right? This bid is not alerted. Of course, on BBO, you can tell your opponents privately what it means, but it is not alerted at a live table, because there's that good chance that you will be alerting your partner, reminding him what it means. But what it means is I have 5 hearts, I have 5 spades. Why don't you take your pick? Now, there's some defenses to it that South could play. Those aren't the subject of this hand, however. What will happen is our partner will now pick a suit. Now, because he doesn't know how many points I have, I could be next to nothing or I could have goods, right? The wise thing to do here is to just bid 2 hearts. Now, if he were incredibly strong here, he might encourage me, or he had extra length in hearts, he might encourage me. I've done my bidding. He's bidding diamonds, right? Still have that void there, wondering exactly how many diamonds my partner might have, all things considered. But I'll pass, and we get 3 spades, and my partner goes to 4 hearts. So my partner has a lot of spades. We get doubled, a lot of hearts. Probably has some distribution going, maybe in diamonds, and he gets doubled. Now, one of the reasons I felt comfortable using this bid is because we're non-vulnerable. These are favorable colors, so I didn't mind opening this light, and I don't mind that we went to game. I don't mind that we got doubled. My anticipation is we'll make 8 or 9 tricks, hopefully 9. We'll only be down 100, and that North-South had something, particularly if they had a game, right? We're playing imps, and we've talked before about how valuable those game bids are, right? So if they've got game, right, and we have just shut them out of it, I don't mind getting doubled in the slightest. Robot makes a lead, and my partner is weak as well. So I have 7-8 points. He has 5. So we have managed to buy a contract, non-vulnerable, in 4 hearts, double, when the opponents have 27 points. And not only that, because I'm voiding clubs, my partner only has 2 diamond losers, and we actually have a little bit of juice in spades, right, with the King, Jack, 10, 8, and we are only missing the King of Hearts. This has a very good chance of not going down very much. Now, the final hand is board 7, and I was a little surprised, and that's why I've brought this hand up, about how many people did not bid South's hand correctly. What we're dealing with is something called the no-trump ladder. How do we bid our balanced hands? Now, the nice thing about a balanced hand and using no-trump bids is that we limit our hand, and as we've talked about many times, the quicker we can limit one of the hands that's in the auction, the better off your partner is, right? As soon as I limit my hand, my partner will have a pretty good idea of where we need to play it. He may ask me a few questions, like with Stamen or something, or new minor forcing, or he may have some questions for me, but, he's going to ultimately know where to place the contract. So we like to bid no trump. We love opening one no trump or two no trump, pardon me. And we also have two other bids, which is to first bid something else and then bid a no trump. Okay, so one club and then one no trump would show 12 to 14 balanced, right? But I've limited my hand and shown the shape. Or one no trump, one club, two no trump, in which case I've shown 18 to 19, right? A stronger hand, that hand that was too strong to open one no trump, but isn't good enough to open two no trump, which of course is 20 to 21. Right? Beyond that, we can do two clubs, showing a good strong hand, and then bid two no trump. Right? Now we have all our gadgets that are after the two no trump, and I've shown 23 to 25 points or so. Sorry, 22 to 25 points, depending on how you play that range. There's yet another gadget you can add called Kokish relays, in which you can walk them up by twos. You can make a relay after bidding two clubs, and then set a limited bid at 23, 24, and then another one at 25, 26. I mean, these are the bids you want to know how to do. Bidding a no trump at any point is a huge advantage to your partner and the auction, because it limits your hand to shape, it limits your hand to points. So, on this hand, I open a club, right? I'm balanced, and I have, 9, 6, 15 through 18 points, right? So, I know what I'm going to rebid here already. I already know I need to bid two no trump. I'm going to limit my hand to 18 points, and then I'm going to bid two no trump. I'm going to show two no trump to limit my hand to that 18 to 19, and it will also show my shape, right? The only reason I would not bid that is if my partner happens to bid spades, in which case, of course, I will support. My partner bids hearts, though. Okay. Now, what I saw at several tables was that people now bid spades. Well, if you bid spades here, you will never be able to show your strength in a manner that's effective, right? Now, we've learned new minor forcing, which can be used over two no trump. People will call it check back then, but it's the same thing. So why wouldn't I just show my shape at this point by jumping rung up the no trump ladder to two no trump, right? Now I'm showing 18 to 19 points with a balanced hand, right? So my partner, if he has 7 points, is going to bid game. If he has 5 hearts and he wants to know if I have hearts, right, he will use new minor forcing. If he happened to have 4 spades and 5 hearts, he can still check for spades by using new minor forcing, right? So we lose nothing, and we've gained the world here. We have now limited our hand to two no trump, which is where the contract ends up getting bought.